Hello again. We're still in February, but the sun's shining today, so the solar's filling up a bit. Now, as you can see, here's some of my plants. This is what's commonly known as bottle brush, or a callistemon, and you can see I've put on top of the cardboard the bark mulch. Something that grows surprisingly well in Ireland, despite the dampness, is olive trees. So here's one that I did. As long as it's fairly well draining, they do all right, surprisingly. So if you're on a flat piece of land, I probably want to put some sand in to increase the drainage. This is on a slope, so I just put like a mix of prepared compost, which is 1/3 sand, 1/3 soil, and 1/3 soil enricher. So that'll give it a bit of nutrients. You know, there's a good soil, and then there's the bit of sand for drainage. If it's boggy, forget it. If you're sort of a little bit damp area, half sand probably for olives, because they are Mediterranean plants, of course, and they don't really like to be wet. They don't like their feet wet the whole time. They'll tolerate a reasonable amount of damp, but you know, if it's constantly wet, there's a good chance they'll die. You can probably see behind my shoulder there's a line of hedging plants going up the side of this footpath. I'll turn around in a second, you'll be able to see better. So I think this is a lilac here. These are all what were bare root plants, and they're really cheap. If you were to buy these in pots, they might cost you a tenner each or more. These cost, I think, €2.50, so they're quite small, and eventually they will make a decent hedge along here. This is a wild rose over here, again with the bark mulch around, keep the weeds off. And you'll see over here I have some irises and some crocuses, which I didn't have a home for, so I just decided to put them in a window box temporarily, and they're coming up now. So that's quite a good way of dealing with plants that you really don't know where to put them. Put them in a temporary home like this, and then you can transplant bulbs quite easily in spring or in autumn, depending on what they are. So now's the time to think about summer bulbs, and then in August, September, you'll be thinking about spring bulbs. So, you know, actual bulbs you've got which are dry, you plant those in September normally, or the end of August. Spring flowers, but because they're already developed and, you know, they have started to grow again, they can be carefully dug out, teased apart, and replanted somewhere on a good day, not when it's frozen. Beginning to wake up gradually, and you can really feel the energy changing. Sort of spring is in the air. You might say the energy of Bridget is around. Look, you can see this hazel tree. It has got buds on it, and they're going to take a while. They're going to fatten up, and eventually they will open up, and you'll have new leaves. On some of them, you've actually already got the flowers. I'll see if I can find an example to show you. Another hazel tree, and as you can see, it's got some flowers on it already, and it's February. That's pretty early. So at the moment, something I'm working on is the raised beds, which are made out of old sleepers and sort of modern fake sleepers. So kind of cobbled together, but it works. So there's a lot of advantages to using raised beds. It saves your back a lot, and they're much easier to manage. This one here has got garlic and onions in, but something, as you can see, has been eating the onions as they've kind of began to come back. I don't think it's a rat. I think it's probably birds. I could be wrong about that though. See, this has got a layer of bark mulch, which is quite heavy stuff. I prefer the fine stuff, which is what I've got here. Now I've just cleared this bed, so what I'm going to do now is continue to put the bark mulch on, which will kill off any remaining weeds. You're wondering what the hell this is doing here. Well, yes, it's actually a foxglove, but you know, I kind of like them, so I decided to just leave it. Silly as it is. Some of them, the smaller ones, I've actually transplanted them, but foxgloves have very shallow roots and they sometimes die if you move them. So when they're this size, it's quite hard to transplant them. So I decided the smaller ones, yes, I will put them in pots. So I'm doing the same thing over here, the mulch. So clearing away all this dead stuff and the weeds. And as you can see, there's another one. There's another tiny little foxglove here, which I will be putting into a pot shortly. So all three will be covered in bark mulch. So at the moment I've got onions for this year. Next year I will move it because you should do what's called crop rotation. That's something I go into in my book, The DRUID Garden. But you can find information about that on all kinds of websites, and you know, it's not really that difficult a concept. It's really a matter of just moving different groups of plants like alliums or brassicas to a different spot. It helps deal with disease problems and pests and prevent the soil getting completely depleted, because different groups of plants require different sets of minerals to grow. And in some cases, nitrogen can be replenished by certain plants, like for instance peas will help with that, with nitrogen fixing. So it makes a lot of sense every year to swap your beds around in a sort of a loop, if you like. Some people have 4 beds instead of 3, and quite often that 4th bed would just be left fallow for the year. But anyway, I only have enough sleepers to do 3, so that's why I have 3. So it takes a lot of the pain out of growing vegetables, I can tell you, by using this system. Okay, you're limited in how much you can grow, but you'd be surprised how much you can pack into an area this size. You can see behind me the 2 raised beds here. They're finished now. All 3 of them are now covered in bark mulch, and you can see here there's my little foxglove that I took out and I put it into a pot, and you see I put some fine bark mulch around to keep away the weeds. In this pot, it's only a baby, so it will grow and grow this year, and then the following year in the summertime it will flower and then set seed. So as you can see, I have a bucket here. These are very handy, these handled plastic buckets. They're lightweight, very strong, and you can put soil in them, all kinds of stuff, fertilizer pellets. I use the chicken poop pellets, and this has got bark mulch in for now, which is very handy for when you pot things. If you don't want loads of weeds to pop up around your plants, you put a layer of bark mulch about 1 inch or more, and that usually does the job of suppressing any weeds that want to germinate or come up in your pot. So that's it for today. As you can see, there's plenty to keep you busy, even though it's still February. And yeah, when the weather's good, I get out as much as I can. Even when it's not great, I try and do some work outside. And then of course there's the polytunnel, which I may come to another time. Okay, thank you for watching. Please give a thumbs up if you like the video, and feel free to subscribe, and you'll find plenty of other videos like this one on the DRUID Garden playlist. Okay, bye for now.